What's up, everybody? My name's Marty. I also go by MVP Productions. That's my YouTube name. I'm a beat producer here on YouTube. I've been producing beats seriously for about 6 months, but I've been using FL Studio for about 6 or 7 years off and on. I learned a lot along the way about tips and tricks and little things you can do on FL Studio just to make your life a little bit easier making beats, quicker and make things a little simpler and organized. I remember what it was like starting out on FL Studio and not knowing anything or how to do anything that I was thinking in my head. So today I have 5 tips for total beginners to learn, and this should make your life a lot easier. So hopefully I can teach a few people today with this tutorial. But anyways, enough talk for me. Let's just go ahead and dive in. So first things first, I want to talk about the feature called Cut Itself. Now more advanced users, which should not be watching this video, but they'd probably be laughing at this, but it's something I've seen a lot of like rookies or like amateur beat makers do, and I also did it when I first started making beats. So what it is it's a feature that allows you to like cut tail end parts of instruments. Like a perfect example is an 808. So when you hit an 808, you just hear like a boom, and then it kind of fades out. So what happens if you don't have this feature on? So right now I don't, but this is it right here. So I'm gonna go ahead and just punch these in, and let's listen to it. Especially on the lower key. Like it just sounds like poop. So what you want to do is press cut itself, and then this will make your bass just time and cut perfectly. You see? So it's just it makes it sound a lot more clear, and this is what you have to do. So you're gonna have to do this no matter what. I even do this with kicks sometimes. Even a kick, if you put them very close, especially if you're talking, fractions. So 1/6 step. Let's just make a very small one here. You might even notice some here as well. Some bleeding. Kind of, but let's see what happens if we press cut itself. So that one's a slight tiny difference. If you have a good ear, you would notice that. But anyways, just you're always gonna have to cut itself on things, especially like 808s or samples, things like that bleed into each other. You're gonna have to do that. My second tip is going to be how to stop 808s that won't cut past like the bar that's inserted, such as this. So I have these, I don't know the name of this. I just call them like bars or lines. There's a proper name for it, but I don't know it. But anyways, I have them spaced apart because my idea was to get a little bump, and then get a little cut in between, so it's not just rolling. This is a little different from the first tip. So what I'm going to do, here, let me play it first, so you can see what I'm talking about. So these spaces here are still getting played through, and I wanted it to cut in those spaces. So what you're going to do is you're going to take that, pull up this. It's, normally on this, I think. So just click this bar. What's it called? Envelope instrument setting. So you're going to click on that. And what you're going to do is you're going to bring that attack all the way. You're going to bring this, whatever that means, decay tension, and then the sustain level and the release. And what you're going to do is you're going to take the hold knob and you're going to pull that thing all the way forward. And now we should be golden. Let's check it out. Alright, you see? So now it's stopping exactly where I want it to stop. And some 808s, will actually have this program into it already, but this one, for example, does not. But like usually like free kits or something like that will usually not have that. So this is a good tip to know to work with any 808 that you like the sound of. So, you know, it'll just cut whenever you need it. And then from there, it's just up to you how you want it to go in the song. And then it's up to you from there. Now, for my third tip, we're going to talk about splitting channels. And what I mean by this is sending all of these that we have here. We're going to send all these to this track with your patterns. I'm sorry, I don't have the correct like terminology for things. I really apologize for that. But we're going to take each one of these and set them in their own separate track here. So the reason why this was tricky for me before is that literally I wouldn't even use the patterns or the track list here. I would just extend this like so far, and then I would just keep going and going, and it's very hard to stay organized that way. So what you're gonna do is you see this pattern section here. You are right now, this whole thing is part of pattern 1. So what we're gonna do, you're going to open that, pattern 1, you're going to slide down to split by channel, and then from there, everything that we had on this rack is here. There's no need to make more racks. I forgot how I used to do it. I think I would just add, no. I forgot how I used to do it, I don't even remember now, but I would keep adding different racks, and then I would insert it and like copy and paste things. So this makes, I hope no one's doing that like I did, but literally now you have your clap here, you have your hi-hat, you have your 808, your kick, and what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna, just to show you how like cool this is. So let's start with the hi-hat and the clap. That's usually how I start a song. Oops, sorry. Click on song up there. Pattern is for PATs for patterns, so that's gonna play the thing over here. So let's go back and let's click song. My notebook's fallen, and here we go. You see? Now let's do a little cut right here. Boom. Hey, 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 hey. You see? Let's cut this all the way. Oh, nah, I didn't do it fast enough. Hey, hey, hey. You see? So that just makes it so easy. And normally when I'm making songs, I'll have like 8 to 10 to 12 different instruments here, and you're just doing all that here. And this is essential for track outs. So when you do track outs, you are literally exporting each one of these tracks separately for engineers to mix with the artist who's gonna sing, rap, whatever. So that's our third tip. Tip number 4. We're gonna get into mixing now. If you're not familiar with mixing, I'm just getting into it very briefly. It can be a little complex. It takes practice. It's kind of an art on its own, and maybe I can make a whole video dedicated to mixing and mastering later. But I'm just gonna touch base a little bit here with you guys. So mixing is gonna be this bar here, and you need to level these in order to get a good mix for your song. You have to mix your instruments. What that means is getting them to a volume that is good, matching all of them to go into one. Sorry, I suck at talking. You're gonna have to take all those volumes of those instruments and get them until they sound good together, not one being too loud and one being too quiet. So I can show you better than I can say it. First, start by clicking, you can click any of these, but you have to click it twice. So that was 1, that's twice. Now what you're going to do from here is you are going to go to your first track other than the master. The master is gonna, you're not gonna touch that. You're gonna touch insert, the first one, Now what you're gonna do is you're gonna go to channel routing, and then you're gonna click on route selected channels starting from this track. And then you're just gonna go ahead and click that. And now we have all of our instruments here. So let's go ahead and play it back. You know what, I'm gonna play the, okay, yeah, I'm gonna play song because we can't play pattern anymore because it's separated. But what I can do is keep repeating this portion by right clicking at the top bar. So that'll keep repeating for us. And now you have all of these separated on your mixing board. And what you're gonna do here is you're gonna bring all of these down. And you know, this, let me pause this for a second. This tip, what I'm going to say right now, is something you should really follow because I misinterpreted what my music production teacher said in a class that I had before. I took music production like 2 semesters ago, and I started listening. I think I was like falling asleep, and then he started talking about how he trusts the visual meters here on volume by just, you know, making them all even. Kick, snare, you know, it's trying to make these levels as even as possible. He said as long as you can do that, you should be okay. Hence the word should. But, you know, I tried doing that and it doesn't always work. I don't know what it is, but you have to do it by ear. When you mix, make sure you're mixing by ear. I mean, right now I'm not really gonna focus well because I'm talking in the headphone. These headphones I don't use for mixing. They're like a gaming headset. But if I was listening, let me 1 second. So to me, the 808 sounds a little high. Hi-hats are way too high. I like my kicks pretty loud. I like the snare about even sounding to the 808, but I like the hi-hats definitely pretty low. And now you see, it is not even at all. But the thing is, once you go and play this in a car or another portable speaker or whatever, it's gonna sound good because you mixed it to how you are listening to it. And another thing is you should probably get studio monitors or studio headphones so you hear exactly what's coming from those sounds. But anyways, I'm dragging this tip on way too long. I'll continue mixing in another video if you guys want that. But moving on to the next tip. And now for our last tip, number 5, we're gonna talk about mastering a little bit. So let's go ahead and delete Fruity Limiter because I don't really use that. The thing is with Fruity Limiter is you can kind of master your song, and if you don't know what mastering is basically just getting your song as loud as possible. You do that after mixing, after everything's evened out. But I go ahead and delete limiter because, you know, it makes stuff louder, but you can't really use that without some kind of EQ. So you kind of need like one of these, like a parametric EQ with that. But what you can do instead of doing the 2, which, I mean, if you prefer it, that's, you know, whatever floats your boat, but I use Maximus. And what I do here is I'll usually go through solo, but here I'll play master. So I'll go through master, and then what I'm going to do from here is go to high. Now you can visually see where it's at. You can hear it. It's fairly quiet. The mid sounds a little higher. The mid sounds higher for that snare. I haven't EQ'd any instrument separately. I'll talk about that in another video. But you should do that before mixing actually. We'll do it with mixing. Now here's low. Now let's hear the, visually you can see low is way louder. So let's bring that down a bit. Let's go back to playing it all to loop it. I mean, in these headphones, the high sounds really quiet. But that's kind of how I will master, or I'll EQ with these here, by bringing down these. I'm sorry that I didn't mention. Bringing down these together like that just lowers the volume of it. I don't know why I didn't mention that, but yeah. So once you get it to how you think it should sound, or where it sounds kind of even with low, mid, high, you go back to master, and then now I keep an eye on this meter here, and I'll go ahead and bring up this preamp. And I hope this doesn't get too loud actually. Let me turn my total volume down. Now I'm gonna bring up this preamp. My goal is to bring it to 0 or just above 0. I have no idea how loud this is, so I'm just gonna turn it down more. Hopefully it's not too quiet or too loud. And then you can see here, you see how those are spiking over the blue line? What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna turn down this preamp and I'm gonna bring up the post. That's what I'll do if it starts clipping like that. Now bring up that pre, and you should still have plenty of space up here. And you know, I'm actually 1 or 2, I'm in like 2 or 3 range, and it still doesn't sound like it's clipping, so that's good. But you know, we only have 4 instruments. The more instruments you have, the more sound will jump up. But yeah, so that's my last tip for you guys. Again, I can get into mixing and mastering later in another video because those 2 tips together are very long. So anyways, I hope these 2 tips helped you guys. I mean, I'm sorry, I hope these 5 tips helped you guys. Man, I can't speak today. So if you're still with me, thanks for watching the whole video through. I really appreciate it, and I really hope these tips helped you out. I'm sorry that the video was so long and it was only 5 tips, but you know, it's kind of hard to really tell you guys some information in such a quick manner. If you guys did enjoy this video, please leave me a big thumbs up, subscribe, comment down below if you liked it or not, or if you want me to continue making some more tutorials here and there. Since you're here on my channel, might as well check out my other beats. If you know some friends who are rappers, or if you want to get into rap as well, check out my beats. Follow me on Instagram, BeatStars. All my information is in my videos in the description. But anyways, you guys have a great day, and until next time, peace.